What's going on, guys? Maddie here from dclblogger.com. Usually I make, an update on the Decentraland land marketplace. I kind of do them once a week. Just go through the last 7 days worth of marketplace activity, the best deals, etc., etc. But I really do one just covering Decentraland as a whole. Like, what progress have they made? What partnerships have they made? What updates have they updated the community on? What discussions are being made within the community? What are the concerns? What are the positive points in the last 7 days? And I think from now onwards, I'm going to try at least to do a once in a week overview of Decentraland, where we are, where we seem to be going forward, my opinions, etc., etc. And I just think it's good for people to make more content about Decentraland, videos, articles. I like to see more reviews on the partnerships that they've made, and for some reason I stopped doing them, but I think with the last like 5 or 6 partnerships with Decentraland and the games that they've onboarded, I'll spend some time in the next month or so going through them. But for now, let's kind of do a last 7 days update of what's been going on in Decentraland. Now, one of the biggest pieces of news that we're all excited to wait for is the land auction, the second land auction, auctioning off the 9,300 remaining pieces of land in Decentraland. Okay, now Decentraland have mentioned that it's going to be a Dutch auction. Now, a Dutch auction, what it does is it starts off at a very high price, so that you can see the first day here. This is an axis of day of auction. So the auction is going to run for 14 days. Okay, the price per land is going to start at 200,000 mana, and it's going to slowly go down until whoever wants to buy it buys it. There's no bid. There's no bid wars against any other person. It's just based on whatever pieces of land that you want and when you're ready to buy it. Obviously, people are going to get a bit nervous that there might be someone else that'll buy it before them and they'll make a move. So it's kind of designed to get people to FOMO buy a little bit. That's the purpose of Dutch auctions. But there's a few benefits in terms of some of the things that they've fixed based on what they've learned from the first auction. For example, in the first auction, a lot of people were sniping lands in between estates. So someone wanted to buy, say, a 100-piece estate. You'd had other people just buying lands in between those estates just to, I don't know, piss them off or buy that land and sell it to them for a bit more expensive later on. But the Dutch auction, what it allows you to do is just a bunch of, kind of select a bunch of parcels and then buy it all at once. So you're not really bidding against anyone. There's no real opportunity for someone else to snipe one of your lands. If you just want them all, you can just buy them all. So an interesting thing that they're doing is, again, starting off at 200,000 mana. The next day, so the very next day, they're going to come down a whole 100,000 mana. And they're going to be going down by the second. They're going to start off at 200,000 mana, go down to 100,000 mana within the first day. So you can see it's kind of like a parabolic downwards graph kind of thing. It goes down within the one day, it goes down to 100,000 mana. The next day, it goes down to 50,000 mana. And then it's a gradual decline of 3,000 mana a day, until it kind of bottoms out at 1,000 mana. So I kind of like that style, because there are going to be some parcels that are going to be highly valuable, and people that have money will have the opportunity to secure those spots. And I'm for the whole getting people to FOMO buy or getting people to buy lands for as much as they can kind of get, because at the end of the day, remember, all this mana dedicated or contributed to land, it all gets burnt. So it collectively all gets sent to a wallet that no one has access to and effectively gets removed from the marketplace. So hopefully there'll be 10, 20, 30, 40 million mana spent on the auction as a whole, and imagine that completely taken out of supply, which currently would be about 4 to 5% of supply. If that was taken out, it should see an increase of value for the mana token. Okay, so that being said, I agree with the method that they're going through with the land bidding process. Why the Dutch auction? So anyway, I'll put this link maybe at the bottom of my YouTube. You guys can check it out if you want. So that was kind of released on 19th of November, a few days ago. What's the date today? We're at 23rd, so 4 days ago that was kind of released. I think that was released after Esteban's AMA. So we all know that there was 3 days ago, there was a Ask Me Anything thread by Esteban, who is the lead developer of Decentraland, one of the co-founders, I believe. But there was some mixed sentiment about this Ask Me Anything thread, because there was a lot of questions asked in one of the previous threads that weren't answered at all, and there was a completely new thread made, and a lot of the previous questions weren't answered. I think there was only 2 hours worth of questioning and answering that took place, and a lot of people that weren't available at this time zone missed out. So someone like me, who slept pretty much all through this because I had no idea, my midnight or nighttime would have been the exact time when this would have taken place, and I completely missed this. So I had no opportunity to ask the questions that I wanted. And there was a bit of mixed sentiment. Some people were a bit annoyed, some people were relieved, some of the questions were answered. So I'm just going to go through some of the few questions that gave me a bit of an insight as to what's going on. I'm not going to go through all of them, because at the end of the day, like, this is good reading material for people that are invested in Decentraland, just to learn the direction of Decentraland. Okay, so what do we have here? What do we have? A lot of people actually showed concerns over Agora voting, and a lot of the voting questions centered around the structure of mana and the economy of Decentraland as a whole. Okay, where mana, so questions about mana, or kind of, there were pretty big decisions as well, like removing or introducing an 8% inflation per annum. I think it was removing that 8% inflation per annum. There was adding a marketplace fee to burn more mana for each transaction in Decentraland that takes place. So someone buying or listing Decentraland land has to pay a fee. That fee gets burnt. And I'm kind of okay with all that, but these are big questions to ask, and they really affect the marketplace or the Decentraland economy. Now, I don't think we have enough data to see or make these decisions. We don't want to be making these economical decisions until the world is out and people are using the mana economy, and to see how it is being used. So I think it's best to wait on those kind of questions till a later date. And people are also asking, like, why was the second auction chosen to be one of the questions, and why was there only 2 options for that second auction, kind of forcing voters to vote on a very soon auction. Like, either vote would have seen an auction take place within the next 5 months. So the answer to that was, when is the land second auction, was the #1 inbound question in our Discord. So I kind of got that to be okay, because at the end of the day, like, you have to understand, Decentraland, the developers, from their perspective, they're interested to get content onto the platform. #1 priority. So why would you have 9,300 lands unowned, completely, void of content, just sitting there? Why not give it to someone that has the potential to build something on it? Yes, it will dilute the marketplace for landowners, but as we're moving forward, guys, we have to understand that obviously Decentraland aims to be decentralized, but it's far from that at the moment, and that's okay, because it aims to be that. And you're not going to get decentralized overnight. There's plenty of groundwork that needs to be done. There's plenty of platform assistance and creation that needs to be made. Like, a lot of ground structure needs to be built for the community to take it into our hands, to direct Decentraland to be what we want it to be. And it has to be centralized at the moment, because we're not capable of designing this stuff ourselves. We don't have those structures in place. So I kind of agree with the team in some of the decisions. But from an investor's perspective, if you've bought land, you've bought mana, or you haven't bought anything and you're waiting on the sidelines, whatever your interest may be, for financial reasons, economic reasons, business reasons, or you just want to develop stuff for fun, whatever it may be, you're going to see at some stage, while we're converting to a decentralized governance, you will, not every community will be satisfied and happy. There is going to be things that are going to affect your investment. So it is important to be very strategic about your investment. Never go all into mana, never go all into land. Yes, either one of them may be a good decision, but it's always good to diversify and always be on your toes about this stuff. Kind of know what's going on with Decentraland. And, any one of these decisions could change the value of things overnight. So just be wary. What else do we have, guys? So will there be a Novus level building suite like Magic Voxel for Decentraland to onboard less technical proficient people to the creative process? That's a really good question, because I'm pretty in a similar boat. I have no plans of building on my land. I would rent it to people that are way more capable than me. But it'd be fun to have some kind of a builder on board, that maybe something like what's it called? What's that really popular game? Minecraft, right? Minecraft had people 4 years old building on it. And that's pretty fun. Like Magic, what's that? There's Crypto Voxels or something like that is doing pretty well. and they've got like some really basic builders to get people to make whatever they want. So hopefully, they say they don't have that in the plan, but they're considering it. We experimented with adding support for an instanced geometrics approach, which made for a very performant voxel scene. So again, like, they're open to feedback at this point. Hello, Esteban. Thanks for all the work and dedication. So land voting, again, this is one of the biggest issues that a lot of people face. A lot of people, the way they organized and went through with the voting system is the more mana you owned, the more weight you had when it comes to voting. Now, people that have spent a lot of mana to acquire land, there's people that have spent like, 2 to 3 million mana to acquire 1,000 pieces of land. They didn't have any weight whatsoever with that land pieces to take part in the votes, in the voting structure. So that was a big concern, and I think that's a valid concern. And I think there has to be some kind of land voting system in place. Even if it's basic, there has to be some sort of contribution opportunity for the voting rights for people that are more heavy on land. Okay, and the question is, how is it going to be implemented? I personally think that there is a way to maybe consider the auction price of that specific land. If you paid 1,000 mana for your land back in 9 months ago, back in January or December, then you have 1,000 mana worth of voting or something like that. And for the new ones that are auctioned, people spend way more mana, so yeah, it still works out. That say they spend 5,000 mana to buy that piece of land, then yeah, they should have 5,000 mana worth of voting rights towards that. Or they could add some kind of a multiplication factor or something like that. But there needs to be some kind of land voting value, and it's a question of what is that going to be. Will the scene limitations on triangles, textures, and stuff be lifted higher over the time as general hardware improves? So if you're not a developer, then you probably won't be aware that there is scene limitations in terms of how crisp the scenes can be developed on Decentraland. Currently speaking, there's a limitation based on the triangles, I believe, and how much the quality of the stuff that you can develop, and it's quite limited at the moment. So they've said that their policy has always been that it's better to be very restrictive at the beginning and start relaxing the rules, which maximizes forward compatibility. And I'm 100% with that decision, because at the end of the day, it's always easier, crisper. You're going to be loading a lot of content at the same time when you enter Decentraland, so you don't want that lagging like crazy right at this point in time. So as hardware and as through tests and all that kind of stuff, we can kind of relax the rules on scene building, then hopefully this will get closer and closer to looking way better than what it does on the kind of the beta. Even though it still looks really good, but just think like it could look something like Ready Player One sometime in like 10-15 years, right, when the capabilities are there. I'm far from it though, obviously. Anyway, guys, like, this is something interesting for you guys to check out in your own time. I'm not going to go through it all myself. But the last question I wanted to go through was this one over here. How long is the project currently funded for, given the recent decrease in price for Earth, which is a really important question. Based on all partnerships, like, how many people do you have sign up for development? So what they've said is the weekly stats for the last 7 days worth of people signing up to the SDK mailing list. 1,000 plus people sign up for the SDK mailing list the last 7 days. 46 developers were activated in the last 7 days. 116 people were active. Now, does that mean, yeah, so for the last 7 days, 116 developers were active. So 116 people have been playing with the SDK toolkit, I believe. Pretty good at this stage, where we haven't even opened up yet. What else do we have, guys? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys do this on your own, okay? Now, is that what have we gone through? So again, like, another thing that they did before I move on to one of the games that they partnered up with is an interview with the DAP team. Okay, now again, guys, go through this in your own time. It makes sense that leading up to the second auction, I think the team wanted to come out and answer a lot of the questions the community may have, just to open up the doors and clear out the issues that may be up in the air. But let's talk about some of the stuff here, some of the questions here. I just want to go through maybe a couple of them. Did you ever expect land to be so expensive? They didn't really comment on the price of land, because they said they're not really focused on the price of land. And that makes sense, because they're not really interested in where land goes. They're more interested in the price of mana, because that's where their stakes are. You have to understand that the team, their stakes are in mana. So they're more important in increasing the price of the mana token, and at the same time building the Decentraland experience. They go hand in hand. The mana token will be worth nothing if the Decentraland experience isn't good. Okay, so they do go hand in hand, but the value of land itself doesn't really concern them too much. But they said that they're more focused on building tools like Agora. Our community voting platform is one example of how we're trying to empower the community to shape the future of the platform. So they want to slowly build it, and in that building transition, they want to give us, the community, the ability to build the rest of the world and govern the rest of the world. What do we have? Sounds like you're becoming a DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And here's what they've mentioned here. But to build a DAO, you need a lot of building blocks at first. You need to build foundations and provide the infrastructure for the DAO to grow and flourish without centralized influence, which is true. I believe that is true. That's why we are here. If we were to implement a DAO now, it would not work. But our aim is to bootstrap this process. What else do we have here, guys? Anyway. Another bunch of information you guys can check out in your own time. So there's 3 points of contact at the moment, like 3 blog posts or 3 pieces of reading material I do urge you guys to check out. The Reddit thread, the blog post on Decentraland themselves about the second auction, and on the post on Medium from DApp.com, the interview from DApp.com. Okay, so now, Decentraland partners. Okay, so this is one of the partnerships that they have made called Battle Races from Altitude Games. Now, I always look to figure out what this team is capable of, because as an investor into Decentraland that owns a lot of land, at this stage I think I own about 130 pieces of land, and for me it's really important that there is people that are capable of developing really good, enjoyable experiences in Decentraland. At the end of the day, if Decentraland can become a place where you literally get addicted to wanting to check out what's going on in Decentraland every day, if you find yourself in that position to want to check out in Decentraland what's going on every day, then it can go to the masses. If it's something that you just check out once in a while because you're like, let's see what's going on in Decentraland here and there, I don't want that. Like, I want this to be a viral phenomenon, a viral kind of concept, right? Virtual reality world where you can do whatever you want to do and experience, different types of experiences. And the quality of those experiences are going to depend on the developers. Now, I'm not a developer. I'm an investor. I'm interested in the economy. I like to promote Decentraland. I like to learn about these new. I like to keep in the know of tech and business and which direction the business world is going in. I'm a money man, right? So I like to see in the tech world that people are coming on board with a lot of capability. So what have these guys done? Okay, so they've introduced Battle Races, which is going to be a new addition to one of the games coming on Decentraland. It looks pretty cool, pretty crisp, quite fun. It seems like you can buy and customize your vehicle and battle each other, and it's pretty cool actually if you think about it. Like, so 4 people can verse each other on this track, and you can throw stuff at each other and throw weapons and all that kind of stuff, similar to Mario Kart. So that'll be interesting. It really looks like the graphic detail is really awesome. Like, this is perfect for the quality of Decentraland or the limitations they may have on their kind of land. You could convert your prized battle racer into a non-fungible token, allows you to track its racing history. You can probably trade it, buy and sell it on the marketplace. It'll be pretty fun, actually. So what some of the games these guys have made, Altitude Games, they've made Dream Defense on the Play Store, which has 56,000 reviews. I think it's rated 4.7 or something. Pretty damn good. And, this over 1 million downloads. I've checked it out on Android myself, but over 1 million downloads for this game. So they're very capable. They've also got this new game coming out, Holy Ship. Looks pretty cool. Like, I like to see the quality being awesome. Okay, that's what I like to see. And who knows, like, if the VR world works out really well for this game, they may introduce 10, 15 new titles for Decentraland. And that's what we are about. We want people to come on board, build different experiences in Decentraland. If the higher investors can, the more kind of richer investors can hire these guys to build on their scenes, who knows what Decentraland is going to look like. But that's an interesting kind of progress report for this this partnership. We also have, and I like to see Chainbreakers, right? Chainbreakers, if you guys don't know by now, but these guys are building like a kind of like a small RPG type exploration game where you can host different quests on your land, and move around with your player, equip different weapons, verse each other, and do all kinds of stuff. So they've actually sold a lot of mana worth of weapons. So let's look at some, like, how much money they've actually raised. So this is the wallet address, and you can see that they've raised 1.1 million mana, which is awesome, absolutely awesome, to just kind of have a bit of money in there to fund and create that game. And they've kind of finalized a kind of, you know, PvP, player versus player mode, where you can verse each other in a turn-based strategy game. So I'm looking forward to Chainbreakers coming out, and again, it's one of the many games coming out in Decentraland. There are plenty of games, guys, coming on Decentraland. I kind of made a tweet about it the other day. Let's kind of pull it out for you guys. But there's like, I think there's about 10 to 15 partnerships, or 10 to 15 games coming out on Decentraland. So check this out, right? Where are we? Man, I tweet a lot. Chainbreakers, Axie Infinity, My Ethereum, Crypto Beasties, Crypto Cars, Battle Races, Scrapyard Escape, which is the one that Decentraland are making. Animica Brands are releasing 2 titles for Decentraland. Satoshi's Quest. There's like 10, maybe 12 over there. Battle Races is another one. Let's kind of pull that up for you guys. Oh no, not Battle Races, sorry. Crypto Cars. Here we go. So this is not a new partnership, but it's a partnership that they have had. I think it came from the Nifty conference, I think. So these guys are coming to Decentraland, where you can buy and race your cars. It looks pretty freaking cool, to be honest. Check that out. That looks cool. Come on, you have to admit. And you can buy these cars and race them and all that kind of stuff. And you can check out the kind of cars in development, what's kind of being made. I think they're far away from actually doing a pre-sale, but you can see that a bunch of cars you can buy. They all seem to be the same model, just a different color, which I'd like to see different models as well. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of development going on the last 7 days. Hope you guys liked the video. If you want me to keep doing these videos, I will. Hopefully I'm not rambling on too much. I'm trying to make these short and sweet, but you know what? At the end of the day, I end up making these 20 minutes at least long. So anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And, you know, good luck with whatever you've invested in within Decentraland.